Hi, this is Snaily Snail. So happy holidays if I don't get to see you until 2021. I am on 2 weeks of vacation from work. It has been long overdue. I initially had a vacation planned in March, but then COVID hit, the borders were closed, and I didn't want to be stuck in Germany for God knows how long. I want a trip to Japan, and unfortunately, we also couldn't go for that one. So this was the second time I had to cancel my Japan trip, but one day I will make it to Japan. One day. Okay, while we're on recent events, someone in the building set the place on fire. According to security, they lit up a cigarette or a candle and fell asleep, and thankfully no one got hurt, but yeah, it still sucks. Recently, I listened to a podcast episode called 3 Miles by This American Life. It's about two schools that are 3 miles apart, and they do this exchange program. So they get to see what a private school looks like, and this is in the Bronx, I think. And the private school students also get to interact with lower income students, and it focuses on this one girl who everyone thinks is going to succeed. I will leave a link to the podcast down in the description below so you can listen to it and form your own thoughts. I thought I would provide my own experiences and just talk about how hard the American dream is. So I also grew up in a low income neighborhood, and I live near Chinatown. So the school that I went to was in Chinatown, and so a lot of the kids were Asian, and I have always been in a class where the majority of my classmates were Asian until 7th grade. In 3rd grade, there's a test that tests to see if you are going to be in advanced work class. So I tested into advanced work class, and the summer leading into 4th grade was hell for me. Looking back, I'm very grateful to this lady, but it was really hard. So for the whole summer, I was learning PEMDAS. I was learning like division, long division, and you're probably like that's easy, but no, it was hard because I've never done that before. So going into 4th grade, I was ultra prepared for math. Like I'd learned negatives, I'd learned positives and how to multiply, divide them, but I didn't learn about essay writing and how to think deeper, because no one ever asked me to think deeper as a 3rd grader. 4th grade was just like the hardest time of my life. In 4th grade, I stayed up until 2, 3 a.m. trying to finish my homework. It wasn't just me, all the parents like came to the PTA and was like, what's going on? Why is my kid staying up until like 3, 4 a.m. crying over their homework? And then eventually I learned from my peers on how to study. So my grades went up significantly, and my essay writing, I finally got an A-. I was so proud of myself. And once you're in advanced work class, you're automatically in advanced work class for 5th grade and 6th grade. When I went into 5th grade, it was so easy because I took exactly what I did in 4th grade and transferred it. And in 6th grade, you take the ISEE or the IC exam. So this exam ranks you, and it tests to see whether you should qualify for the exam school. So I went to Boston Latin School. It's still like a Boston public school, but you have to take an exam for it. And a lot of private schools or independent schools also look at these grades to see if you qualify for their schools and maybe potential scholarships. In order to prepare for the ISEE, I had actually been in this program called Stepping Stone, and they had helped me immensely with testing preparation. I had to go every, I think, Saturday. So 6th grade was rough in terms of time management, because from Monday to Friday, I would go to regular school, do all my regular school homework. But on Saturday, I used to go to Chinese school. And then like on Fridays, I'd cry about my Chinese school homework. Because of the ISEE, I had to move my Chinese school to Sunday. And then on Saturdays, I also had like additional school where I would learn how to take exams. And so once I got into Boston Latin School, things were kind of easy for me. Boston Latin School isn't an easy school, but I would say I had a lot more opportunities given to me once I got there. When I was in 7th grade, I would be taking exams for 8th grade and 9th grade math exams. My math teacher thought very highly of me at that time, and like in 7th grade, I did not learn about chords or how to measure them, but I am just so ridiculously good at multiple choice. I mean, there are only 4 options most of the time, so you have a 25% chance. Like even now, I still am good at multiple choice. I won like $125 at work for doing some multiple choice thing. I also scored first place in Chinese quite a few times. I was always like first or second place. But let me tell you, learning a language is just one of those things where you really need to have the motivation to learn it. I've been learning Chinese for how long? I don't know, since kindergarten. Let's say since kindergarten, even before kindergarten, they were teaching me Mandarin. I distinctly remember in 3rd grade summer school, we would always have worksheets on 生词, which are new words, like vocabulary, right? And I didn't understand a word on that worksheet. And somehow I still miraculously placed first. And it was only around, I'd say, 5th grade, 6th grade, when I finally understood, oh, the worksheet's asking how many strokes is in this character. Can you create a sentence in this? Like, I really had no idea what I was reading. Well, I noticed that once I got into college, the same opportunities weren't there in terms of jobs. Like in college, I felt like I had to apply to maybe like 100 jobs to get something. And then in high school, if I had just applied to that one, I would most likely get it. Growing up, I feel like there's so much pressure to just get into college, and afterwards they tell you it's going to be fine, but it's not going to be fine, because I've noticed that some of the kids that I went to school with, they were so bright, and I thought they were going to be like amazing doctors, lawyers. I feel like some people lack the discipline, and so once they get into college, it's actually very hard to stay in college because no one tells you that like this is the time to be doing homework. No one tells you, okay, you should actually go to class. You have to motivate yourself. And I feel like a lot of the people that I thought were going to make it didn't actually make it. Once I graduated, thankfully, someone wanted to hire me. If I'm being honest, I don't think I would have gotten a job right out of college if I had graduated in 2020. So I had this one internship where every Friday we meet up and we talk about something. Usually it's like a different leader who talks about something and they discuss some leadership qualities. And this person wanted to show that when you are born, sometimes you are given unfair advantages. She got to the last one where she was like, I know everyone's going to be sitting down for this one. And she said, stand up if you have a library card in your wallet. And I stood up because I actually had worked at the library for a very long time, so I always need my library card to log in and log out. And I actually had it memorized too. I sound like such a nerd. I was the only person standing up, and she was like, no, like sit down. And then I took out my wallet. My library card was looking really crusty because it's the one I got from, I think, kindergarten, and it has a lamp on it and it's gray. Yeah, now Boston Public Library cards, they're really bright colors like red, orange, like a tealish blue color. Like she was trying to say that the most valuable card that you have in your wallet is your library card because it gives you access to knowledge. But it also depends on how you market yourself. So especially for something like econ or business, there are no exams to show that you're competent in that line of work. When I was listening to this podcast, the girl, she just sounded like she had given up hope after she didn't get the Posse scholarship. Posse is very selective, so I don't blame her for not getting in. Like it wasn't her only chance, is what I'm trying to say. So I've also thought about living in Europe because there's greater social mobility. I'm looking at the social mobility index from weform.org, and the top 3 are Denmark, Norway, Finland. Luxembourg is number 10, and the US is ranked number 27. Even though the whale is Finnish, and we were considering living in Finland for a while, the pay was just so low that it didn't make sense. So we decided to take the gamble and move to another state where they probably would pay us better. And yeah, like it has worked out for us so far. And I would say we have like decently high incomes now, where we don't have to worry about a lot of things, because like I'll be honest, like COVID hasn't affected me as hard as it has for some other families where maybe they have lost a source of income or they have lost the breadwinner of their family. There are also lots of opportunities I'd given up on. So for example, I had an offer in Oregon and I couldn't take the job because I didn't have enough money for the plane ticket. I didn't have enough money for a security deposit, and I also cannot drive. So I think the best thing you can do for yourself is just to prepare yourself. So that way, when the opportunity does present itself, you're ready. All right, thank you for listening to me talk. I know this is probably going to be a pretty long video, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And let's hope 2021 is way better than 2020. All right, bye. I'd like to think everyone's weird.